superstardom. Like, the whole group was superstars, influential. They made people dress like them.
They even squeezed in Jim Jones.
That's what I'm saying. Ballin' was a smash hit.
Yeah, they really did. Yeah, I never looked at it like that. You just actually gave me some insight.
And the Diplomat album probably was better than all of the group's albums.
It wasn't better than the Lock's first one.
Okay, but it's up there.
It is.
So, but this is how, when I say groups, this is how you got to tie it in. Cameron's albums, the Diplomats albums, Jim Jones' album, Jewel's first album.
Ooh, that Jewel.
And then the mixtapes.
Yeah, you're right. Okay.
So
and then the features.
The features, and then you got to look at Hal Rell, J.R. Ryder, Uncasa, 40 Cal. They have other artists that was just good too, and they have street buzz, and you have to understand something. Like, their movement was crazy. They brought like gang banging to New York and put it on the forefront. The color pink, the bandanas, the way they talk, the way they did things, like
the little two-step dance,
the little two steps, everything. Yeah. Like, they went to Rockefeller and actually did their own thing. They wasn't under Jay-Z.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So all of that factors in. So to me, Dipset is the best group because of everything they did. Like, G-Unit stood on 50 Cent's shoulders. That's just the truth.
That's true, yeah.
The Locks, maybe the shit with Puff in the beginning and all that messed them up. The Locks technically is the second best. And then I would say Outkast and then G-Unit. But Outkast, really, I wouldn't say a group because it's two of them.
Yeah.
And then if you really, really want to get technical, Run DMC is in that category.
Nah.
Yes.
No.
They started it.
Wait, according to you, do they have a classic album?
It doesn't matter when it comes to Run DMC, the reason why a classic album doesn't matter is because
they have one or no?
At the beginning of time, Down with the Kings might have been a good album at the time. And then their first album probably was a classic in the 80s. See, you got to look at it from the time frame. This was the first super group in rap. They had Adidas. They had everybody wearing the hats, the gazelles, the shell toes. They had the influence. They was in movies. You see what I'm trying to say? Like, you cannot speak rap groups and don't say Run DMC. It's impossible. They're in there. It's just that they're older. But when you look at it, their history is stronger than everybody's.
Of course, yeah.
You see what I'm trying to say? So they're in that category. You can't leave Run DMC out. They are the OGs, the forefathers. Without them, maybe groups probably wouldn't even have been looked at like that.
Do you remember when you first, do you remember the first tape or the first hip-hop song or hip-hop album that you was like, yo, this joint crazy? Where you...
I got an answer to that because I know what you're trying to say, right?
Yeah.
And I asked this question to a lot of people, like, what was the song that made me fall in love with hip hop?
Exactly, yeah.
The Bridge Is Over by KRS-One. That when I used to hear, because I'm from Grant Projects in Harlem, so it's a lot of rappers that came from out of there. Like Kumo D lived up the hill from me. The Treacherous Five, I think, was on the other side of Grant. So it was a bunch of rap groups around my area. So I used to hear the old school records and all that, but I was young. So it was just in passing and all that. When I heard The Bridge Is Over, that drop, when I heard that, oh my God. I was like, yo, this man is amazing. Still to this day, KRS-One has one of the best live shows you could ever watch.
Mm.
KRS-One is very, very underrated.
How much underrated is he?
Very. He started a lot of stuff that people are doing that people don't understand. Like, he had a song called "Love's Gonna Get You."
Mm.
So he was talking about the reality of street stuff, and like, he was telling stories about the street in the hood, that the good and the bad and the outcomes. Then he was a battle rapper. And then he had lyrics. He had metaphors. Like, he was the most complete rapper.
So why, in your opinion, why do you think, because nobody talks about KRS.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody. Not
Yeah.
When you put it top 5 or top 10, Rakim may slide in a lot of people's top 5 or top 10, but you never hear KRS-One. You just
Right.
said he's underrated. Why do you, in your opinion, why do you feel that he is?
Because his image. He didn't come off like a gangster. He didn't wear like he was a B-boy. You understand what I'm saying? Like, Rakim, KRS-One, he first came out with the Dapper Dan suit with the chain, but then he changed real quick and had like the African medallions, the dreads. He got more conscience. So the more conscience he got, the more people veered away from him and didn't look at his talent. Rakim, Eric B., Big Daddy Kane, they wore the jewelry, they wore the outfits. The appearance on the outside could captivate people more than what you actually saying. So I believe that's what made him underrated, is because he changed his appearance. And that's like a cardinal sin in hip hop.
What's that?
To like change your appearance. You know, like to be one way and then look totally different. You know, that's like saying, like, all right, I'm gonna give you a prime example. When Kendrick Lamar first came out,
right,
he was like hip hop, like and then now he's more conscious, and he lost that street crowd.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He lost a little bit of his street core because of that. Like, he don't wear jewelry, he don't wear fashionable clothes, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't knock him for that. I'm just saying he would be way more looked at bigger if he chose to go with the normal, like the hip hop starter kit.
KRS-One.
It's similar to like with KRS-One, you know, and like that's the thing in hip hop today. It's this weirdo lane is big now, like the colorful hair, the tattoos on your face,
the blouses,
the stupid stuff like that. I don't really like that.
Okay. Now, you just mentioned the term weirdo, and I have to ask you about it because you just said weirdo. You said nothing's off limits. So Troy Ave, my son just did this video. I don't know if you saw it. My son, the general, just did a video talking about Troy Ave, and he is allegedly going to take the stand against Taxstone. And what's happening? Have you heard about that?
Yeah, I saw Troy Ave's video on it. Yeah. Okay,
so what's your thoughts on the state of this whole Troy Ave situation? Or do you agree? First off, do you agree with my son, the general?
All right. I'm from the street, and you can't call nobody a snitch unless they actually snitch. That's number one. Number two, Troy Ave, I don't believe he's going to take the stand, and I believe they're using his lyrics just to band against him. Like, he's saying that he's only loyal to his fan, and on the video he's saying middle finger from the stand, like saying he not saying nothing. To me, I might be perceiving it wrong, but to me, it seems like he's saying, fuck the prosecutors, I ain't telling y'all nothing on the stand. You know, he's saying, like, what happened, but this is public record. Everybody knows who was involved and what happened. So he's rapping about it, but he don't have to take the stand. This guy's fingerprints is on the gun. They don't need him to testify about nothing. Everyone knows he took the gun from him and shot at him. That's on camera of him running out and then Troy Ave shooting at him. So he ain't snitching because it's already public record. But when somebody don't like you, no, it doesn't matter what you do. They're banned against you to go at you. Charlemagne is like an advocate for Taxstone.
Yep.
And my son is the brother's friend. So it's a lot of politics going on with that. I don't believe Troy Ave is going to tell because he's a street dude, and at the end of the day, he don't have to tell. They have the gun, they have everybody's DNA, they have the cameras. Ain't nothing to tell. The story is already going to be put together.
Now, are you familiar with Wallow 267?
No.
Okay.
Rollo or Wallow?
Wallow 267.
He's an artist?
Nah, he's like he went to jail for a long period of time. He's out of Philly. He's with like Meek Mills and all of them. But he's like really influential person that just got home and now he's on the good path and he's a big, huge influencer. But him and Gilly, you remember Major Figures?
Yeah, I know who Gilly is.
Okay, so he's with Gilly. Him and Gilly are like together. They almost look like brothers a little bit. So they were doing this video talking about how these days, how when we were growing up, things were different. As far as, I'm not a street dude, but those people who are in the streets, they didn't give their public information, like they gonna go rob somebody, or they just did this, or they showing their guns, or they doing all this. And they was talking about how this generation they're telling on themselves.
Oh,
what's your take on this generation switch?
I'm glad you brought that up. Now, this is the funny thing about that. A lot of people in the new generation, even from I'm sorry, I'm saying it wrong. A lot of people from the old generation like to criticize people in the new generation like the old generation never made mistakes, which is 100% wrong. You see how when Jay-Z said, let's not act like Tupac didn't have a nose ring too. Like trying to say, let's stop acting like our time people wasn't doing weirdo shit neither. You know what I mean? Tupac was in the motherfucking tub full of shit. Or, you know what I mean? Some crazy shit he was doing too. But he was beloved. Now, I'm going to get to my point. Do you know what's the biggest component or device that put people in jail? Since let's just say the 90s or the mid-80s and the 90s, do you know?
People?
Of course, people, but it's the telephone. A lot of cases, drug cases, conspiracy cases, murder cases, whatever, have gotten solved because of wiretaps. Now, this is the old generation I'm talking about. A lot of old people went to jail for talking on the phone. Rayful Edmonds' mother was talking about him on the phone. They had her wiretap. Big Meech's brother was talking on the phone. They had that shit wiretap. I could go on. A lot of people got caught for talking over the phone. So now the same device is just more, how can I say it? It's technologically advanced. So now the same device that got the older generation in trouble is still getting the new generation in trouble. It's just that they can do more things with it. Now they're taking pictures. They're posting on social media. They're doing all that. But it's the same tool, the telephone. The telephone is getting everybody in trouble, and it's the same thing. But now you got a visual, instead of an audio. Then you're putting it on platforms. So at the end of the day, I don't understand it. Now, it is true with the older people